Esta película de Beetlejuice, que estoy segura que al igual que para mí ha sido una película que ha marcado la vida de muchos cinéfilos por lo peculiar que es, porque es un universo en donde lo extraño colinda con lo usual y hace una fantasía maravillosa en la que nos ha sumergido completamente el director Tim Burton. Y obviamente todos estamos aquí porque en unos minutos tendremos aquí a parte del elenco, a su director. Pero antes que nada, quiero recordarles que no se puede grabar la conferencia de prensa, no se pueden tomar fotografías, está estrictamente restringida esta situación. Van a poder tomar fotos cuando aparezca el elenco, pueden grabar sus videos también para publicarlos más adelante, pero una vez que arranque la conferencia ya no se pueden tomar más fotos, más videos, se los pido como con toda la atención y el respeto posible. Muchas gracias. De todas maneras, les van a hacer llegar el material para que ustedes puedan tener todas las preguntas grabadas, interacción y demás. Y ahora sí, yo creo que todos sabemos que esta película ha sido algo que ha trascendido en el tiempo, en la cultura, en la cinematografía, y estoy muy feliz de que tendremos aquí mismo a la persona que creó a este personaje tan icónico con tan solo 17 minutos de aparición en la pantalla, el señor Michael Keaton. También tendremos a una voz de toda una nueva generación que le aporta un montón de frescura a esta película, que por supuesto es Jenna Ortega, quien trabaja una vez más con este director. Se integran dos nuevos personajes, dos nuevos talentos, que son nuestra queridísima Mónica Bellucci, en un personaje que les va a encantar, y también Justin Theroux, que está un poquito más alejado de la familia Dietz, pero no por eso es menos peculiar. Por supuesto, nos acompaña también el productor, quien tuvo la visión para traer nuevamente a este personaje a la pantalla grande. Y claro que sí, la mente maestra detrás de esta película de Beetlejuice, Tim Burton. Así que les pido que con un fuerte aplauso recibamos al elenco y al director de esta película. Y ahora sí, como dirá nuestro querido Beetlejuice, it's showtime. Welcome. Thank you. Señor Tim Burton, vamos a dar la bienvenida a Michael Keaton. A continuación nos acompaña Jenna Ortega. Por supuesto, la maravillosa Mónica Bellucci. También Justin Theroux. Fuerte aplauso. Y el productor Tommy Harper. Un fuerte aplauso para que empecemos con esta conferencia de prensa, por favor. Welcome, guys. You can have a seat. We're so excited to have you here. I mean, you can see here we have a girl dressed up as Lydia. We are huge fans of Beetlejuice in Mexico City. So first of all, welcome to our city, a city that loves also like death. We have a culture of that.
We know.
And I want to start by asking you, Tom, Mr. And Michael, we often talk about nostalgia in movies as something that audiences like because they can relive memories from when they were younger. But we can imagine what nostalgia means for you, for the cast, for the crew. So I wanted to ask you how Beetlejuice has followed you in your life, in your career, how he has stuck with you and somehow led you to make this movie and be a part of this movie again.
Well, for me, I mean, nostalgia is a strange word. I didn't look at this nostalgically. I looked at it like it was a character that I enjoyed and a world I enjoyed, and it just never left me. I mean, obviously it took like 35 years to make it again, but it was like something that just felt finally after all of this time and seeing how people, you get older and you go from, like the Lydia character going from a teenager to an adult, and, that's a journey we all take, and it's the kind of a thing. So the idea of like making like a weird family movie just felt really, really right. So to me, it wasn't nostalgic. It's just, I thought of it more of like a strange family, a weird family movie.
Nice, and I think Beetlejuice really manages to embrace the weirdness. So, Mr. Michael Keaton, how was it for you to step back again in the set of Beetlejuice and coming to create this character once again?
It was more difficult than I anticipated. Well, difficult for me. I was a little more nervous than I actually thought I would have been. It's at the end of the day, maybe my favorite thing I've ever done in film. I mean, you know, that's always a difficult thing when people say, "What is your favorite movie?" I can't really answer that, but if someone put a gun to my head, and hopefully no one will. I'd say if you had to say, just go shoot something now, this very well might be it. So to try to do it again, I think it's because I cared about it so much that I was nervous about trying it again. You know, if it was a thing of, you know, when I did, not to discount it at all, but when I did this movie, The Flash, there was just one thing I wanted, one specific thing I wanted to get right. After that, I wasn't that worried really about that. It's just a thing I always liked. And nostalgia is a funny thing because I never understood it, frankly. People say, well, I get nostalgic. And then one day I don't know what happened, but man, when it hit me hard. Because now I get weirdly nostalgic about a lot of things. And I never saw that coming. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I felt it with this cast. You know, I felt like there's people I worked with before, new people, but it just felt like a weird family reunion or a weird wedding or a weird, beautiful weird event.
That's nice. And speaking about family, a new member of this weird and amazing family is Jenna, and we have a question from Julieta, from Skyview, Mexico. I don't know if she's around, but she wanted to know, what challenges did you face in creating Lydia's daughter, Astrid, and giving her a personality of her own?
Well, I think it's pretty difficult to be related to Winona Ryder just because she's so cool and effortless in everything that she does. And Lydia, obviously, is such a beloved character that I think being related to her in any way there was naturally pressure there. But for me, I think it was nice because I think Astrid was written so beautifully, and it's actually really easy to see where she's coming from. She's kind of embarrassed about her mom's success and fame, and she misses her dad, she lost her father. They kind of have a weird relationship. She was sent off to boarding school. So for me, it was just kind of looking more into that, and then obviously bonding with Winona as much as I possibly could, and we just made sure we had good chemistry and things like that, which was super easy with her. And then I think it just kind of fell into place naturally.
Was there something you did in order to create this chemistry, like something, a special activity or something?
No, I think it was like 3 days into filming or something like that, and Winona and I sat down and finally had time to have an actual conversation. It all kind of came together so quickly, but as soon as we started talking, we just did not move. It felt like for hours, and then we would go to her place, or she would come to mine, and then the same thing. Haven't touched phones, haven't gone to the bathroom, had a drink of water, anything. It was incredible. We can't stop.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think with Jane on screen, the chemistry that you both have. And Monica, many people have seen the poster and made so many theories about your character. So many theories. But we have a question from Gustavo Hernandez from Cinemex that he asked, what was it like to prepare for entering Tim Burton's world and specifically stepping into this role, mysterious role of Dolores?
Dolores is a soul-sucking demon. We can say much because I know there are some journalists, they haven't seen the movie yet. All I can say is that Tim told me, I have a key role in this movie for which I thought about you. And of course, I was very happy to accept it, to play it. We should ask why he thought about me, actually.
I think this role was soul-sucking.
Soul-sucking. And
typecasting.
All I can say is that I'm really honored to be part of this amazing cast, really, and enter into Tim's world. So beautiful, poetic, and magical. So I'm part of the new characters, like you. Thank you. Anyway, we're so happy to be here. Thank you.
And I love how you mentioned it, Monica, like entering Tim world, because I believe it's like a whole fantasy to be a part of Tim Burton's movie, to enter his mind. And Justin, you are also becoming part of this character in the movie. And I think that Tim's character are anything but ordinary. And although your character is a little bit aside from the Deeds family and he can kind of judge what they're doing, he also has some traits of his own. So how was it for you to create this character that it feels like normal but weird at the same time?
He's maybe the most normal of them. I mean, kind of, maybe aside from, Astrid. But it was great. It's one of my favorite things to play, sort of comedically, which is shallow and stupid, and sort of not very bright. And add to that, there was sort of this emotional component to him, which I really just found hilarious. And then touching on the nostalgia part, being a new member of the cast and being able to, and being a huge fan of the movie originally, to be able to walk onto it, I was, overwhelmed by those sets and just sort of the imagination that had gone into them and all the characters. And frankly, the script was incredible. So it's a fabulous experience.
But I mean, all these people really, I had to just jump in because the script was good, but everybody really added to it. That was the beautiful thing for me, was like in the spirit of the first one, there was a lot of improv, there was a lot of people really on a daily basis coming up with things on the set. So for me, the energy was fantastic, and that, again, made it creative and fun, and I guess you might say nostalgic. I don't know.
And something interesting is that this movie is going to be seen by a new generation. I mean, I think we have different generations here who grew up with the first Beetlejuice movie. So this is a question for you, Tommy. How did you work in the production area to ensure that the movie was going to keep that quirky look, but also appeal to new generations?
Well, we follow Tim's lead. So, we kind of, it's about allowing space to create and giving the original fans a little bit taste of what they remember from the first film, but also making it new and original for the incoming fans that haven't seen the original film. So I think it's just about hitting the right buttons and letting people kind of get back into the world of Beetlejuice, and then throw a little sprinkle of some new items in. But it's really following Tim's lead throughout.
Amazing. And I mean, it's been more than 30 years, but Michael, we have a question from El Sol, from Belén Eligio. He wants to know, how has your relationship with the character Beetlejuice evolved through the years?
Wow, I was not ready for that. I love this question, because it makes me worry about myself. Yeah. Well, the great thing about him, the being, is he kind of does evolve and he kind of doesn't. He's kind of the best and worst of everything. So, just to reiterate something, and then I promise I'll get to that. I would put in that up there, but not. It's a little bit of a dissimilar thing. When I did Birdman in Ratu. So it was, that experience wasn't, you couldn't compare, you just can't compare it to other experiences, So without sounding too arty, it's true art, because you don't have a choice but to be part of it. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's, and I like it like this also. I like teams. So I like when it's clear, the director does that, the producers do that, the actors do that. I actually like that. This is not like that. This is a true art experiment, a controlled art experiment, and where like Tim says, everybody had an idea, and he welcomes it, and it's such a fun environment to be in when that happens, because you're not discounted, you might have a lousy idea, but it's an idea because you feel free to do it. So, as that pertains to the question, I'm not quite sure, but you have to. It sounds on one hand silly to even discuss them, because to be really honest with you, I guess I could get actory about it, but the great thing about playing this thing was I didn't have to. It was, I guess I discount that sometimes in interviews too much, because I certainly thought about it, because I think about everything I do. It comes from, something has to come from it. Everything I do has to come from something, some idea, some thought. So when we met, he only said a couple of key things, and he and I were kind of was trying to explain it, but also was a bit of a free form at the beginning, right? So when Tim hit me with a couple of things, I went, oh, okay, that gives me some sort of an idea. So how it evolves is, it's the same thing, because he's kind of, a key thing is he comes from any time, place, dimension, world, you know what I mean? Which totally frees you up, just gives you total freedom. So in a way, you say, that's the same thing. It's not like, well, he's older now, you know, he's matured, I guess.
Wiser.
He's wiser. Yeah, which is so fucking fun to not have to worry about. You know?
But Michael, I would say, what you're saying, for me, it's a character, why you can't describe it, because it kind of comes from the subconscious.
Yes.
It's kind of like, you don't sit there, it's like discussing a dream. I mean, we discuss dreams, we discuss dreams all the time, but to actually discuss a character in a, like, what's his motivation?
Yeah,
or all that
yeah,
kind of stuff,
yeah.
forget about it.
Right. That's true. Like, I always joke, I say the most fun thing was I never once would ask the question, make the statement, well, my character wouldn't do that. My character could do anything.
It sounds like a great freedom as an actor.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And it sounds so surreal as well, stepping into this world. And Jenna, this is the second time you get to collaborate with Tim. And it's also the second time you collaborate with him in such an iconic title, right? So, of course, there are like a lot of expectations from the audience, from everyone. But I wanted to ask you, how do you manage your own expectations when you have to be a part of something like this big?
Oh, I try not to think about it, because then I think I would like, collapse and then not show up or something like that. But no, the iconic part, I think that's more of Tim's thing. I'm just so grateful to be a part of it, and I think all I could do is just try my best and show up and make sure I did my homework, which is easy when you have such an incredible film to look back to and refer to when creating something like this. I mean, if anything, it's really exciting to see how excited other people get about it, or how engaged people are, and how such a strange movie has touched so many people. So I think for me, more so the worry is making sure that we're doing it right, that we're as silly as possible, as campy as possible, which is really, really easy to do when you show up to work and there's a guy with his head sitting on the couch next to him, or you're trying to do your coverage and the camera's in your face, but you're having to lean more to the left because the ground is built like this. I think it was quite easy actually to, play and be a part of the world once you were there.
But she fit like a glove. Like, it's not as I don't mean to speak for you, but I would guess it's not as easy to do. Winona and they're somewhat grounded. Kind of, Catherine's eccentric, and Justin and all the other characters. But that's not an easy thing to do, and to get the tone. What I noticed when she showed up, said she just gets this. She just totally understands how to be in this thing. Just which is, I don't think, an easy thing to do.
Yeah, no, I will say that.
I don't think anybody else did.
No.
No, I was so confused. So confused. Also, what I'll say about this one that I think people might really enjoy, but I personally enjoyed, especially getting to play that out with Winona, is there's a little bit more of an emotional, heartfelt quality to this one, I think. There's more of a through line, so that kind of was my role, I guess, is in the middle of everything to kind of help ground things or, make things relatable and personable for people. So I think that was really the main struggle, is making sure I got that right, and it didn't feel like bad, dramatic acting in the middle of something that is supposed to be fun and entertaining and exciting.
The dramatic essence, right?
Right.
How to manage that. Well, you did it amazing. Congratulations.
Gracias.
And we have a question for Mónica from Aaron Navarro de La Crónica de Hoy. Well, we mentioned that you are a villain, Simon Soul Sucker, right? But he wants to know.
I don't say this anymore. I'm going to say she's a demon. No, although I can say that she has scars, and we all have emotional scars. And she's a metaphor some way. But in Tim's movie, there are always deep subjects, even though this is a comedy, a dark comedy, but still a comedy some way. But there are always deep subjects as life, death, love, because Tim knows how to create situations that are scary and unpredictable and shocking, but at the same time, even situations that are full of emotion. And so he knows how to create and to make different feelings.
Okay. I think that question was what inspired you to bring her to life, and I think that's the answer, right?
What inspired me, that she comes from so much pain, but some way she comes back, full of scars.
And Justin, we have another question for you from Ruby, from Oye 89.7. He wants to know, what was it like to enter the world of Beetlejuice, because it's a movie that has like a really unique aesthetic and quirks.
It's weirdly an aesthetic I love. Like, I love black clothing, and I love, sort of, that, but it's just a completely heightened, insane version of it. So, as I said before, to sort of step into it after having observed it or seen it reflected in pop culture for so long, and obviously being a huge fan of Tim's work writ large, it was just kind of incredible, and everyone sort of has their own little movie happening within this movie. Everyone has their own very, very, very specific point of view, and again, that's large credit due to the script, Tim's vision. So it's just kind of fun. It was, and it is so fully realized. And there's been much said about the practicality of the sets and the effects and all the rest of it. So you're really getting to do the things. When Michael's opening up his sweater and his guts are spilling out, you can literally feel the gel hitting your body, and and all the rest of it. So it's not something where they're like, hey, when we show this, it's gonna look like this. It really was looking like this. I was like obsessed. Yeah, it's
peculiar one.
It was just fun.
I love it. And you have mentioned so many details, and it's a question again for our team from Pamela Cortez de La Cinemafia. Since you are a filmmaker who has a deep love for Mexico, a country which actually has a profound connection to death, how has this inspired you, your work on the film and throughout your career? Yes.
Well, I think this film in particular is, it kind of is, we were talking about this last night at dinner. It's a perfect setup for being here, for starting the tour here, because all the great visuals that kind of you can lean into Mexico and lean into the vibe of it all. And as Justin was saying, every day showing up on the film and just walking in and seeing the great sets and costumes and the actors is a gift. And so we just want to give it to the world, and we love being here. And I think kind of having the vibe of the entire film and letting it and showing 20 plus minutes of it here and getting everybody's excitement around it is very special to us.
Okay. And Michael, as I mentioned in the introduction of this press conference, we only get to see 17 minutes of your character, and that was more than enough to make him an icon. I mean, not more than enough, like I cannot stand this guy, just more than enough to make him an icon. It was the best 17 minutes, I guess. They were the best. But
see what I mean about him?
I wanted to ask you, was there something you were eager to explore in the first film that you were able to do in the second one?
I had such, I keep saying this, like he didn't have any parameters. Tim knew exactly what he wanted always. It's very clear, actually. So I keep saying I had the freedom to do anything. Well, you're within the boundaries of this world, do you know what I mean? So, no, it was really more, in fact, I'll tell you the truth. In this one, I'm pretty sure if I really went back and looked at it, yeah, there's a ton of improvisation and a ton of, I just create things, and Tim either says yes or no, mostly yes, because it'll spur an idea in his head, or Catherine will come up with something. And so there was all that, creation on the spot. But the script was actually quite good going in. In this case, and I'm not saying it false humility, because I don't frankly have any false humility. No, no. I'm not saying that. It's really spread out in the story and the cast more so, without giving too much away. I mean, yeah, he is what he is. You know, he is what he is. He's that anarchic force. But there's more. There's I don't want to say more to go around, but everything has a little bit more. All the other characters and the rest of the storylines resonate, I think, a little more. First of all, I was kind of surprised at how emotional it is kind of toward that. It's very kind of heartwarming in spots. Not too much. Not too much. Don't get too excited. But no, you know, just kind of show up and do the function like you're supposed to function. But really, it was, you know, wasn't. I don't want to say I didn't have to carry the weight, but I didn't have to carry the weight in the first one. It's spread out a lot more in terms of folks stepping up and doing what they do.
All right. And Jenna, there's a line that Astrid has that is, I think it's fascinating. She says like something like, the afterlife is so random. And I think that you're going to be also the voice for a new generation who maybe hasn't seen Beetlejuice. So I wanted to ask you, how do you think that this movie is going to reach a new generation?
Oh, man. That's such a good question. Well, I'm trying to think. Well, I think there's something... I think a lot of people are fascinated by death and what happens, you know, after. And we live kind of in a strange time right now. So I think that for young people who aren't familiar with the original film and maybe aren't used to seeing something so kind of creative and heightened and funny, but still talking about serious issues like that, I think it's really sweet and a really good balance of, you know, it's a good way to laugh at it and the fact that it's going to happen to everyone. So I think, I mean, I don't know that I would say I'm the voice of the next generation or anything, but yes. I feel really, really grateful to be a part of this because I feel like this is what young people need nowadays. And, you know, we want to keep movie theaters alive and we want people to watch. And I think with something like this, it's something that's for everyone. You could watch it with your parents. You could watch it with your friends. You could watch it multiple times. There are so many random things.
Yeah.
There are dogs.
Yeah, you can watch it with your dogs.
Yeah, you can watch it with your dogs.
Tim can watch it with our dogs.
You know, I just happened to notice some things fell off of Beetlejuice's face.
Exactly.
Spitting image. No. But it's true. It's for everyone, for everything. Like, you could watch it a million times and still not pick up on all the little, you know, details in the film. So I think there's something about that where it's that you could just go back and it never gets old, which I think is really exciting for young people to see.
It is. And speaking about the details, as a final question for Mr. Tim Burton, this is from Los 40. There's been a lot of talk about the return of practical effects. How did the filmmakers, everyone here, decided which scenes would benefit most from using practical effects and which one might be better to use CGI?
Well, I don't think we used any CGI. I mean, we kind of did. Look, we went through the thing of like doing everything practical, and even when we didn't do it, like it wasn't really CG. We just do old-fashioned kind of matting, you know. So we really didn't do anything that we didn't do on the first one. We didn't the I can't recall any CG at all. So. We just because like Justin said, it was important to the spirit of the film that everybody got in there and felt it. It just made it more emotional. It made it more personal. It made it more fun. It made it more, like I said, in the spirit of the first one. I mean, I didn't even watch the first one in making this one. I just went and did it feeling the characters and feeling the people and feeling it. And I really didn't. I didn't because I felt like I started to look at it. I go like I didn't understand it to begin with. So what am I going to learn from this? And I made it. So so I'd rather just kind of treat it like it's something emotional, but made it feel new, but using all those same techniques. So that was just, again, part of the spirit of it. So that made it easier for everybody, the actors, to comment on, and just made it more present. It made it more like we were there actually making something instead of thinking about what it was going to look like later.
Yeah.
And, early on, pardon me, when he and I, through the years we would go, what do you think? You have any interest in doing it again? There were those conversations. The one consistent thing was not too much technology. I just knew it. And Tim said, don't worry, that's never going to happen. There was always an agreement, if we ever did it again, it had to be handmade. Because I don't think people consciously understood when they first saw it. Now I think they do, actually. But I don't think they consciously understood what it was about how they, the attraction. First of all, it was just really creative and fun to watch and funny. But I don't think people consciously understood what they were drawn to exactly. You know what I mean? Because that's a hard thing. You're removed a little bit, as brilliant as things like these movies I see. I mean, I'm in the business and I don't understand how certain things are done in movies I look at. It's mind-blowing, the technology, just unbelievable. But there's a tiny, tiny separation, if you ask me. There's a subconscious, tiny little bit distance. I think we don't even know it now, but I believe so deep there is. In this, you can't put your finger on it, but and so for us to be in the environment, I can't tell you how much fun it is out of the corner of your eye. See somebody like with fishing line pulling something, like a cat's tail. Yeah, like a cat's tail. It's just the most fun, It's like being a kid,
Well, I think everyone in this room, or at least I hope, are going to enjoy this amazing movie, Beetlejuice Beetlejuice, that it's basically a celebration of the eccentric, the weird, the beautiful, of the beauty of life as well.
Like all of you.
Like all of you. And also a reminder that even in the afterlife, we can have some laughter, mischief, and a little bit of darkness. So in the mood of Beetlejuice, and to get this day started and your visit to Mexico, well, let's say it's showtime. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here.